Right. Well, welcome everybody. So we are the middle school reading class. And this reading class, well, we'll get into that. Okay. So my name is Mr. Davis. I've been working with Momentum or at Momentum for this will be my third year. I've been teaching in general for 14 years. I've taught both in the United States and in South Korea. I taught in South Korea for 3.5 years. I've done elementary mainly, middle school, high school, and I've even done taught at the University of Southern Utah. My master's is in reading curriculum and instruction. Specifically, I focus on literature-based learning. So not just teaching people vocabulary skills, but showing them through books. So learning about character skills through books, learning about vocabulary through books, learning about cause and effect relationships through books. So we'll look at that. Okay. I've taught IC English prep classes and SAT prep classes to students. And so you'll notice some of the questions when we start doing the multiple choice questions for the books. I've formatted them to be very similar to some of the IC or SAT questions so that students that do take those type of tests are better prepared for it through the reading that they've done. Okay. All right. So middle school reading, students will be working with award-winning and best-selling works. Students will be responsible for completing signed reading prior to class. During the class, discussions will be hard based on the plot, character development, and theme of the text. We're going to take a big look at themes in both our books this year this term that I'm super excited, beyond excited for this class and the books that we're going to be doing. Students will also be working on test skills, like I talked about, IC based questions, also SAT based questions. Okay. And both in class and homework, students will also be working directly with a variety of text based questions derived from the text. And we'll see some examples of questions in a little bit. Engaging in meticulous reading enables students to delve into the intricate nuances of language, offering invaluable insights into various grammatical elements, such as prepositions, articles, verb tenses, and beyond. Essentially, what that says, the more different types of books, so the variety of your reading that you're doing, it actually statistically shows that you become better writers and you become better in the way that you talk and express yourself. So one of the books, and we'll look at it in a little bit, it's actually the one that I've chosen samples from for today. One of the books that we're going to look at today is not a book that you guys would typically choose. And I think that's important because one of the books, yeah, it might be a book that you have thought about reading, but one of them is definitely not on anybody's radar, but it is an amazing book. And we're going to use that book to expand how you guys communicate, how you understand literature, okay, and how you engage with literature, okay? So there will be discussions-based elements of the class. We'll have written discussions. So on Canva, we'll have written discussions, and we'll have verbal discussions as we're reading. So these are our two books this year. We've got Refugee, okay, which is Alan Gratz does amazing with these historical fiction books, okay? And Refugee is actually a combination, okay, of three different stories, okay? And so we'll look at those stories and how the character develops in those stories. So that's going to be our big read, okay? It's a slightly longer book, and we'll have it chopped up into sections. The other book, okay, is if I made a list of my 20, it would probably be my top 20 favorite books. I cannot recommend this book enough to people that enjoy the way stories are told. Okay. It's Inside Out and Back Again. It is historical fiction that verges on being a memoir, and it's amazing. Now, you're going to see that's the book that we're going to look at samples today from, and you're going to see why I'm saying that this book will change the way you think about how stories are communicated. So we'll look at that in a little bit. All right. Before we go on, does anybody have questions or they're confused about either of the two books? Ooh, yay, we got lots of people coming in. I love it. Great. So both of these books will be covered throughout the course. Okay. We're gonna start out with Refugee, and then the last 4 weeks of the course, we're going to be doing Inside Out and Back Again. Okay. And we'll explain, and then there will be homework assignments based on it. So it'll kind of be structured where the reading chunks to go along with your typical school homework won't be too taxing. Okay. I do take that into consideration when I schedule and lay out and plan a course. All right. So if you've ever been on Momentum before, then you're probably familiar with Canvas. If you're not familiar with Canvas, it's like a lot of other online learning platforms. Okay. We try to do most of ours is just direct answer based. We'll have a couple discussion questions. Okay. That are, I have a rubric based, but most of them will be just direct answer based. So parents will be able to see your scores, and as you're going, okay, see how you're doing and your progression of learning. Okay. So if you look over here, we've got several different types. We've got handouts. Those will be done during class. And you have homework that will be done outside of class. Okay. And I also use the inbox to message students, okay, what the readings are. Okay. Now, let's look at an example of that. Oh, before we get to the example of that, we're going to read a couple pages of Inside Out and Back Again. Now, before we start Inside Out and Back Again, has anybody read either one of these books? Anybody read either one of these books? All right. Good. Well, I'm happy about that, because I love being able to expose people to new books. So I'm super stoked that these are new to you guys books. Okay. So here is where we're going to start with Inside Out and Back Again. Inside Out. Every year, Mother visits the I Ching teller of fates. This year, he predicts our lives will twist inside out. Maybe soldiers will no longer patrol our neighborhood. Maybe I can jump rope after dark. Maybe the whistles that tell my mother to push us under the bed will stop screeching. But I heard on the playground this year's bong chung, eaten only during Tet, will be smeared in blood. The war is coming closer to home. February 12th. We're going to go one more. Kim Ha. My name is Ha. Brother Kwong remembers I was as red and fat as a baby hippopotamus when he first saw me, inspiring the name Ha Ma, river horse. Brother Vu screams, Ha Ya, and makes me jump every time he breaks wood or bricks in imitation of Bruce Lee. Brother Koi calls me Mother's Tail because I'm always 3 steps from her. I can't make my brothers go live elsewhere, but I can hide their sandals. We each have but one pair. much needed during this dry season when the earth stings. Mother tells me to ignore my brothers. We named you Kim Ha after the golden Kim River Ha, where father and I once strolled in the evenings. My parents had no idea what 3 older brothers can do to the simple name Ha. Mother tells me they tease you because they adore you. She's wrong, but I still love her. I still love being near her, even more than I love my papaya tree. I will offer her its first fruit every day. Okay, so if you notice, okay, it's almost written like a what? Well, 2 things you notice. Okay, I love this book because it's written the 2 different ways. Okay, what's something in the way that you notice how it's written? Anybody notice anything specifically about how it's written? Is it written like a normal story is written? Not really, right? And is it written where all of the information is given? Not really, right? So those are 2 of the things. The other thing that we see is that date down at the bottom. When I told you it was written like a memoir, it's almost like a memoir slash diary. Okay. And it takes place in 1 year. Okay. So we get these dates that show when it's happening. The other thing is it's written in poetry form. Okay. So we get a lot of emotions, we get a lot of feeling that comes through. So that goes towards goes towards us looking at the vocabulary and at the meanings throughout the quiz. Now, sometimes, okay, you'll have words where we're looking at meanings, okay, and sometimes we're going to look at the actual text and talk about the meanings. So here we go. Predicts. To look at someone's soul, to look at the spirits, to look at the past, to look at the future. What would predicts most closely mean? And you can type it in the chat or you can shout it out. I'm good either way. Awesome, Jason. One of the Jasons. So Jason said D, okay, to look at the future, okay. We would reflect, okay, if we were looking at the past, okay. To look at to someone's soul or spirit is almost the same answer, okay. And if we think about it, does this say that there's multiple answers? No. And if there's not multiple answers, okay, and 2 of them, okay, have very similar or the same answers, okay, then that's something that you have to take into consideration when you're getting rid of wrong answers. And so part of what we're going to work on as well, okay, is yes, let's get rid of wrong answers. How do we get rid of wrong answers to get to the right answers, to get to our choices? Good. So let's look at number 2. Number 2, we get maybe soldiers. So we get the piece of the text. Maybe soldiers will no longer patrol our neighborhood. Maybe I can jump rope after dark. Maybe the whistles that tell mother to push us under the bed will stop screeching. The main character wants less peace, less routine, less chaos, or less stuff. Go ahead and put your answer choice in the text. All right, so looking at this, this sounds like there is no peace, right? So when the author is writing this, having less peace than this doesn't make any sense, because they're describing something that's already not peaceful. And does it sound like there's routine in what they're describing here? Not really. Okay. So I doubt that they're going to want less routine. So that leaves us with less chaos or less stuff. And then so that's something to consider as well. It's not really focused on stuff. So chaos is the best answer, wanting less chaos. Another reason for this is routine, okay, and chaos. Now, y'all did well with chaos, but knowing the vocabulary is part of it as well. Okay. All right. Go to the bottom. Why does the character hide sandals? Choose more than one answer. I can't make my brothers go live elsewhere, but I can hide their sandals. She doesn't like how her brothers treat her. She loves her brothers. She wants her brothers to run away. She wants revenge against her brothers. Okay, so as you're considering, think about which answers you can take away. All right, so looking at this, she loves her brothers. Well, they're family, okay? So she probably does love her brothers, but is this evidence of her loving her brothers? Probably not. Okay, so that's something that we can mark that out. We can mark out that she wants her brothers to run away. Well, I don't know. That's a maybe, right? That's a maybe. Now, she doesn't like how her brothers treat her. I love that. Okay. And how does she get back at her brothers for the way they treat her? Well, uh, she hides their sandals. Okay. And then we look at, she wants her brothers to run away, or she wants revenge against her brothers. Well, balancing those two options, okay, the best option is that she wants revenge against her brothers. Why? Because of how they treat her. We look at how those two are connected. So these are some of the examples of questions, okay, that we'll have. We'll have some that go a little bit deeper, and we'll see that. Okay. All right. So during the class, we also towards the end of the class, we also will use some of the skills that we've looked at, okay, in a game-based situation. Okay, so one of the things before we get to the questions, question and answer, like if you have questions. All right, so did you have any questions for me about anything that we went over today or anything that we do? Any questions? All righty. Well, I'm super excited about this class. So I hope you are able to join us, and you have a great rest of your Saturday.